Now, as you do know, there was an earlier directive that stopped making any comment or utterances that would create some kind of disaffection for the party. And then she goes on pause on Joy FM to make further comment. And now the party says you have some questions to answer before the disciplinary committee of the party. What is happening? Do you know? Is she first of all, are you?
Yeah, I know Honorable Adwoa Safo.
You say you're close friends?
No, we're not close friends. I related to her those days when I served in Ghana Revenue Authority.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And also as a lawyer, we've met a couple of times. It's very unfortunate we find ourselves in this situation. We are in a country where we believe in free speech. The party believes in every member to express him or herself when it comes to matters of the person's own nature or the party. However, we are also governed by rules and regulations. We've come out of an election which we've lost badly. For the first time we went to an election, we garnered less than 42%. This is the first time the party has lost this number of seats in parliament. And so a lot of introspection has to be done. The party has to investigate and set up a team to find out why we performed this abysmal in the past elections. And so in the wisdom of the National Executive Council, committee was put in place, chaired by Professor Michael Ironukwe, to do these investigations. Actually, in the frame of the National Executive Council, 2 committees were supposed to be set up. One to do research into the reasons for our laws, and the second to bring proposals for constitutional review. So Professor Michael Kwe ordinarily was supposed to chair the Constitutional Review Committee. And then one doctor to chair the investigations into our laws as a party. But they didn't want to set these 2 committees to run independent. So we put the 2 committees together to be chaired by Professor Michael Ironukwe. So actually, Professor Ukwe is not leading the investigations to our laws.
I see.
It is in the hands of a different committee. Professor Ukwe is only chairing the consolidated committee, which will bring proposals to the National Executive Council with respect to the outcome of that investigation and then the recommendation for the party's constitutional review. And so the committee has been on the field for a while. They're supposed to actually complete their work by the end of this month.
Sorry, before you go ahead to talk about when they're supposed to complete that, who do you say is in charge of the fact-finding committee?
One doctor, I will just confirm the name.
Okay, he's in charge.
He's in charge of the
which is go and find out what exactly happened to us. That's one team.
That's one team.
Then there's another team that's also supposed to be looking at the party's constitution.
The party's constitution.
And how to overhaul it.
How to overhaul it.
In order to conform to modern times and so on.
Definite.
And that's headed by
Professor Ukwe.
That's Professor Michael Ukwe.
Yes. So when you put those 2
to do with the fact finding.
No. So when you put these 2 committees together, then it is overall chaired by Professor Ukwe.
Okay.
Yes. So this fact-finding mission has nothing to do with Professor Ukwe.
Oh.
So it will be difficult for anybody to even state that in all these rounds that the committee has been doing, Professor Ukwe has been involved in this fact-finding mission. Yeah. So the mandate is clear. When the party issued its communication to us as party folks, that clear distinction was made by the General Secretary of the party. So it is in no doubt that we needed a team to do the research, to give us information on why we lost abysmally. And that work is nearing completion. They visited my constituency. Even this week, I'm sure members of parliament will be meeting. The minority side will be meeting that committee to also interact with them.
And to make their inputs.
Put our input in. Exactly. So in the midst of this, we've had a lot of party members also going out into the media space to express their views on why we lost, or individually their perspective on our performance. We've had situations where former members of parliament had been out there to speak on those matters, and then some communications were made to them to take their time. So we complete this whole exercise before we all take it from there. So we've had relative peace in this party over some time until we had Honorable Adwoa Safo coming in to share her experiences or give her views on these matters. I ordinarily have no problem with Honorable Adwoa Safo expressing herself. I think it is in her domain. She can exercise those rights. And in fact, the difficulty I have with her is that you doing a one-on-one interview, and in those interviews, certain revelations are made or certain statements are made against other individuals who are not present to defend themselves. And so in our communication, we ought to be very tactful that yes, share whatever you want to share, but you also have to respect the rights of others who you bring them into the picture. And then secondly, we are all trying to build a party. She still remains a party member, even in some of the interviews. In fact, when I saw bits and pieces of her interviews, I took it upon myself to listen to the Ekusi saying one with Obi. So I had the privilege of listening to the entire interview with Obi. And I thought that there were certain statements she made which were not too good for the unity of the party. And so she's been an experienced member of parliament. She's been a deputy majority leader. She served the people of Dom Kwabinya well over 3 terms. And so it's important that she becomes very measured so that we don't. And it's for that reason that the party issued that communication to us as a people, that we should be very careful in these times what we say, and we shouldn't wash our dirty linen in public. We shouldn't do things that would bring disunity or bring issues that would harm the party. And so I thought she would be guided by those directives from the party, and unfortunately she proceeded to another media platform to even spew much more words that are not too good. And the party in the wisdom has referred it to the disciplinary committee. I think it's in the right direction. It's part of our regulations as a party that anybody that does anything in the wisdom of the party that brings its name into disrepute, we need to follow the due process. And that is where they've sent her. I only hope that the party will give her a very fair hearing, which I know the disciplinary committee will do. I hope that she would avail herself to the processes of the disciplinary committee so that we can get this off our head. I don't want to see a situation where we take this too hard on her and then take certain steps that will further disturb the unity of this party. The party is made up of people. It's numbers game. And so you want to, in as much as you want to instill discipline, also try and bring everybody on board. I'm sure even beyond the referral to the disciplinary committee, we have leaders of this party, we have the council of elders. I think it should be very important for them to engage her further, to try and understand that, you know, she's expressing herself from a certain point. She believes that she's not been heard over the period. A lot of allegations have been put on her. She's never had the benefit of explaining herself. So she's more like on an explanatory spree, you know, which I believe would help her ease some of the issues that has been bothering her over the period. But in doing so, you have to also be guided that you don't do things that will bring disunity into this party. The party is very, very, very hurt. If you go to Dom Kwabenya, it is not Professor Michael Quay Jr. that lost the elections. We all had, you see the sweeping loss we had across the country. All of us, we came into this contest with a positive balance in Efia of about 6,000, 7,000 difference, and I won with just about 2,000 votes exactly. We lost all our seats. Kwesimin team, we had over 15,000 positive going into the election. We lost the election. Secondly, we had positive of 10,000. We lost the elections. You go to Takwa. So you can't, it's a misnomer. What we've experienced 2024 is not a normal trend of politics. So you really need to find out. Even my people in NDC, there are a lot of MPs there who never believed they would win their elections and come to parliament. You know, they knew they were going to win the election, but not with the numbers that they have. And so I'm sure they are even doing their own reviews to find out if they can keep those numbers, you know. So we really have to take our time as a party. It's not just about Dom Kwabenya, Michael Kwei's performance. It's about the entire performance of us as a party. And so I believe Adwoa should calm down. She should be a bit modest in her presentations. And I'm sure when we do these engagements...
You again, I repeated, you were a private legal practitioner, and I'm sure that you're more familiar with the party's constitution. Which aspects of what Sarah Adwoa Safo has said, which you would consider as creating disaffection for the party, and that would then warrant any solid grounds for the party to perhaps even take any disciplinary action against them? Because I'm happy, because you said, look, I've checked Obi's interview, I've watched everything, I've listened, I'm sure you watched the Pulse one too. Which aspect of what she has said would you say is causing disaffection for the party? You
know, this committee was set up by National Executive Council to do a work. So when you impugn that it's been set up with Professor Okwei chairing to undermine His Excellency Dr. Alhaji Mahmoud Bawumia's bid to be the flag bearer or the presidential candidate of the party, that is quite superfluous, you know, because we are not there yet. There's nothing about this process that speaks to us trying to find why Dr. Bawumia should continue to be a flag bearer or not. And so when you make such statements, you know, we are in a party...
But she said she's privy to all kinds of conversations have been taking place in the dark about some attempts to do everything possible to make it impossible for Bawumia not to contest. And that's what she's saying.
But that has nothing to do with the committee setup. That's where I'm coming from.
Okay.
We are a party. People still have interest to contest. Dr. Bawumia contested 4 other people to win the bid. And people are still interested to contest the presidential slot.
Okay, so let me try and see whether I can create the nexus.
Yeah.
If I understood what she said,
yeah,
she's saying that, look, the committee's work will be skewed in a way that makes it appear that the people who were spoken to are blaming Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia for what has happened to the party. And so that document will then be used as basis to perhaps work against Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia's interest. I don't even know whether Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia intends to contest or not. I don't even know. I don't know that for a fact.
Exactly. And she's saying these things without evidence.
Okay.
She's saying these things without evidence. And I don't believe this is what the party set it out to do. It's clear from the mandate of the committee to investigate why we lost the 2024 elections. They've been to various constituencies. When they go to the constituencies, they engage the constituency executives, the police station executives. So there's nothing about this exercise that is looking at even presidential candidates and who should be leading the party going forward. So if she is privy to any information that suggests otherwise, in putting that information across, she should have added the evidence. But when you throw it out there, and then it becomes some story where some party members may be made to either believe because it's coming from a very senior member of the party. And so from those contexts, you are putting up a behavior or an attitude that is trying to disunite the party. And that is unhealthy. And this is coming at the background of the party giving us notice to stop those media engagements. And so when you flout it, then it becomes a matter where you ought to be referred to the discipline. So for me, in her, she made so many. I don't want to go into specifics because this is a platform I wouldn't want to continue perpetuating those stories. But anything that she said on all those media platforms, I'm saying that initially these were statements made. The party thought some of them were very unsafe.
Before Ellison comes in, and please be brief on this. I have listened to Justin Kodria's interview post the 2024 election defeat. He was on another radio station. Must have been up 2 or 3 radio stations or so. And the presenter asked him what he made of the accusations and counter-accusations which has characterized the party since the party lost. You know what he said? And I just realized that it's been quoted by some of the online portals. He said it's normal. Allow people to vent their frustrations. Allow this is this person's fault and that it's temporary.
Exactly.
Okay, things will die down at some point. So how do you reconcile that position with this statement which appears to be like a gag order? How do you reconcile the two positions?
No, so I believe everybody should be given the liberty to express him or herself, and that is why I'm not against the conversation that has been ongoing.
Okay.
So there's nothing wrong with Adwoa Safo or any party person. Even in our own constituencies, I have opened myself up for anybody to express him or herself since the election. Some may be true, some may not be true, but allow people to vent. Okay, so vent yourself, but be guided as well, because we are speaking to the Ghanaian populace.
Right.
And there are certain statements you put out there, when it turns out to be false, it will be difficult for you to go back and overturn, because based on what you are saying, maybe when further information is made available to you, you wouldn't have said the things you said.
Right.
Yeah, so I believe we should allow people to speak. The party is not against people speaking, even from the communication that came out. The party is not stopping or gagging anybody from speaking, but the party is saying that be mindful, be guided that in your communication or in your interviews, you don't say things or do things that will bring the party's name into disrepute or disunite the party.
All right.